On here, how Disney World is going to reopen, how and what they are going to do and put in place for visitors to come join them. There's a lot to know here. So let's dive into it as Walt Disney World returns July the 11th. There is some things to consider before making your plans, and mainly that comes down to three critical categories for Walt Disney World. First being new ticket sales and hotel reservations. They say at this time we are temporarily pausing new ticket sales and Disney Resort hotel reservations so we can focus on guests with existing tickets and reservations. Existing ticket holders and annual pass holders will be able to make a theme park reservation before new tickets are sold, and we will be reaching out to these guests soon to provide additional details. We will resume new sales of tickets and Disney Resort hotel reservations after that period of time, and theme park reservations will be limited due to attendance limitations and will be subject to availability. So this is something that's a big part of the way they are going to manage crowds moving forward. Obviously, reduce capacity within the parks. As we understand it, about 30% is where it's going to hover to start. And I know that this is a big piece to how they are reinventing their wheel. So if you are an annual pass holder, looks like you're going to have to make reservations now. If you are somebody that was more of a local who liked to drop in after work, probably not going to happen in the near future based on the way they're setting things up. The other big piece to this is people that have purchased tickets ahead of time. Will they be honored or won't they? Heard the other day somebody who had reached out to Disney directly the same day these announcements were made and called Disney Reservation Center to ask, so do I get a refund here if I can't use these tickets during my trip and they're not dated, and how does this work? And unfortunately, the representative on the other end at the Disney Reservation Center didn't seem to know anything, had no idea the announcement had even been made, and the communication had not even trickled down yet. Katrina, as a travel professional, I know that you're probably hearing a lot about how people are trying to deal with vacations that were planned, and we want to make it very clear when it comes down to it, a Disney vacation really is a privilege, and it's a thing that you pay out the nose for, but it's not a right. Okay, and there's a lot more important things in the world going on to be concerned with, certainly. But knowing that you are, a travel professional and sort of in this industry, I know that you're hearing a lot from people that had plans, and now it seems like they've kind of been upended, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple that have canceled and a couple that are still kind of waiting to see what's happening because again, like it's like very fluid. Everything keeps changing all the time. You never know what the reservations are going to be like down the road, but through the channels that I've seen through other agents, they've had people as soon as this information was released, immediately cancel all of their trips upcoming and in probably the foreseeable future because again it's really hard because if you're saving all this money and you're trying to go to Disney World and you want to have the best possible vacation, then I'm to be honest it's not I wouldn't tell you to go right now. I would wait, save more of your money and try to go in the next couple years because I feel like the people that are going to go to Disney now are the people that have already experienced that Disney magic and still want to kind of uphold it and keep it and understand the limitations that are going to be there, like no fireworks, no character meet and greets, no character dining. And that's what a lot of first time Disney people want to do. And so it's going to be really hard for them to have that Disney magic. And sadly, I don't want to like say all first timers think that this is a right and that they have every right to have all this stuff happen. But it is a privilege to go to Disney, like we've talked about before. It's
Well, if you're paying for, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you're paying for, it's not like the prices are getting cheaper.
no.
So you know what I mean. It's so you do feel like you are kind of owed that firework experience if
Sure.
you're going to pay the same rate.
But if you're going into it knowing that it's canceled, then you have nothing to complain about. But
right, no, I agree. I'm not. Yeah.
But I feel really bad for the people that again that are hoping and loving and like wishing to go back to Disney or go to Disney for the first time. They've been like furloughed. They've been going through really hard times and they just want to escape the world and get to Disney. And sadly, you're never going to escape anymore because Disney's going to have to do the same thing. You have to wear a mask. You're not going to get that Disney magic. So it's been really, really hard. And they've canceled the dining reservations for everybody, which is even harder now on travel agents because dining used to be 180 days in advance, and now they're canceling all dining and starting fresh and starting that 60 days in advance. So it's going to be harder for the travel agents. And so just be really kind to your travel agent, because it's not their fault. They're not the bad guy. They're doing the best that they can. It's not their fault that their dining has been canceled. They're going to do their best to try to get those dining reservations for you again. But it is a big bummer.
We want to make it very clear, too, that if you've never planned a Walt Disney World vacation before, it is a mission in itself. There is so much that goes into a Disney World vacation. It's not like you just show up and everything magical happens to you. There is planning, preparation for months in advance, sometimes 6 months in advance, depending on if you know what you're doing or not. If you want to have a good trip, you're planning at least 6 months out. And that goes down to everything from your fast passes to your dining reservations to your hotel reservations to the way transportation works. There's a lot to know going into a Walt Disney World stay and a Walt Disney World experience that I think goes over a lot of sort of commoner visitor type heads. They just don't know. And so that's something that we definitely try to educate people about here. When it comes to trip planning, there's so much to know, far more to know, I should say, with Walt Disney World than Disneyland, that's for sure. And let's talk about dining and experiences here. Disney says in order to foster physical distancing during this time, upon reopening, our offerings, restaurants, and other experiences, such as behind-the-scenes tours, will be limited in capacity and other experiences may remain closed. As a result of limited capacity, we have made the difficult decision to cancel all existing dining reservations and experience bookings, including Disney dining plans included in packages. That's a huge deal. We will reopen dining and experience bookings with more limited numbers closer to when the parks reopen. We will also shift from a 180-day booking window to a 60-day booking window for dining and experience bookings going forward to allow guests to make their plans closer to their visits. I know that dining might seem sort of silly and frivolous, in the grand scheme of things, like, oh, well, you can just walk up and grab a burger anywhere, can't you? You can, but dining has become such an instrumental part of the Disney World experience that they even created the Disney dining plan around that. And I know that, nobody in this group seems to be a huge fan of the Disney dining plan, or at least doesn't really use it all that much. I've used it in the past, and I find that it just kind of requires you to eat all the time and sort of schedule your day around just eating constantly. But talking more about like these experiences that have also been canceled en masse, and they're going to set up a new way in which to book your experiences based on if they're COVID safe. Tyler, are you aware of any sort of experiences that Disney World has that are unique, like other than the VIP tours that if they get canceled, it's a hard thing to deal with because maybe you had to put money down, or maybe they're hard to get experiences. From your perspective, have you ever done one like that?
I mean, we've done a couple of those tours, the VIP tours before, but I mean, what comes to mind is like the tours like at Animal Kingdom where you get to walk through oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. The safari. You get to walk through the safari and you get to do stuff like that. And I'm guessing all that stuff is canceled as well. But I mean, yeah, on our side, we had reservations with our friend over there in November, and she literally made them. And then like a day later, they all got canceled, including our Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that was a really tough blow. I guess if they have to change the system up, they have to change the system up. But I'm just shocked there was no way. It doesn't make sense to me that they're going to know who had prior reservations, but they couldn't take those reservations over. That seems kind of weird to me. But that's what's happening. And I guess if we want Disney back, we can't be that mad about it. Hopefully we get the reservations that we wanted to get again.
I get what they're trying to do. I get it. Like a lot of people book 180 days in advance and they actually have they're just doing it just to do it. They don't even know if they're going to be going yet. And so they're taking up a lot of reservation time or reservation spots for people that actually do want to go. And so I get why they're trying to do the 60-day in advance. But then for the people that actually did have prior reservations, they're giving them like priority access to get the new reservations. And I don't know how that's going to work out. because
Yeah.
that just seems really silly. Why don't you just give them the reservations back or something close to it?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah.
I get it.
I think that's a little strange, but you know, we obviously don't know the ins and outs of their new system, and hopefully, actually, this could maybe be a better system in the long run. We don't even know because sometimes I've had issues with making reservations and stuff in this current system. So maybe this will actually be an improvement in the long run. We will
hopefully
have
it
to wait
doesn't
and
tie
see.
in with fast passes when fast passes come back, because that's stressful.
Yeah.
Having to do fast
Yeah.
passes and dining at the exact same time 60 days in advance, I would shoot myself.
And it's even harder for people like us who are on the West Coast, where you have to wake up super early in the morning to even
4
get
a.m.
if you want to get on Flight of Passage, you better wake up at 4 a.m. So it's tough. It's really, and I feel really bad for people who have made these reservations multiple times now.
Sure.
Because Disney keeps on, they're kind of not doing the right thing in a way, because they just keep on trying to make these deals and say, you should make your Disney vacation. Come on, we'll be open at this part of it, you know, and then they kind of keep on extending it out. So I think it's a little unfair to those people, to be honest with you.
I also have one more point.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to bring it up.
Sure.
So as a travel agent, it's really hard because they tried, for people that, like, to go off of your point, the people that were booked from March to end of May, they gave a little bonus Disney dining plan for if you booked June 1st to the end of September, you got a free Disney dining plan. Now they're canceling the Disney dining plan. And that was the way to keep that reservation secure for yourself and to give them a little bonus for all the stress that was happening, you know, with booking or like canceling things and rebooking. So now they don't get a Disney dining plan, and instead they're offering like 35% off the room. But the whole point of this was you already had a really killer deal on the room, and now you have to rebook with 35% off and no Disney dining plan. And so now it's just kind of like, what's the point when you can just wait for another like deal in the future? Because you're not going to get the deal plus 35% off. So it's a bummer for people that were getting their hopes up for the free Disney dining plan, and now it's not even valid anymore. So
yeah.
So it's very stressful for people.
We just got very lucky too, because we made our reservations, and then a couple days later they were like, no more hotel reservations.
Oh,
and it was like, oh wow, well, I'm really glad we got in. Then it's gonna be weird times for a little bit, but we'll get through it, I think.
it's also very interesting that, I mean, you have a reservation as far out as like Thanksgiving, and that got canceled. That's a lot of. That's a really far out window there. To go ahead and pull the plug.
Yeah, I think they said until September 2021, which is crazy. So if you had any reservations for any dining, or, well, I guess
you can't really have it in 2021,
but all that's anything you had till 2021 is gone till near the end of 2021. So
before the 50th.
Almost like it was planned. So sad. Well, the other big piece to the new plans for Walt Disney World's grand reopening happened to be with fast passes and extra magic hours. The company says as a result of the COVID-19 impact, the FastPass Plus service will be suspended for the time being, as we plan to use additional queue space to manage capacity at our attractions and maintain physical distancing. We will automatically cancel existing FastPass Plus selections and share any future updates on the service at a later date. Also, please note that upon reopening, extra magic hours will be temporarily suspended. Garrett, we definitely saw with not only this announcement, reduced hours in general for the parks that have now gone live on Walt Disney World's official website, whereas Magic Kingdom is now closing at, like, say, 7 p.m. In July, that's kind of unheard of, right? In July, typically, because it's so hot during the day, parks usually would extend open until like 1 a.m. or something like that. And I find now that that's just not happening. 7 p.m. closing time, and then there's like an 11 a.m. Opening for July 15th in Epcot. So that's even more sort of surprising. 11 a.m., not, 8 a.m., that sort of thing. I see that you're a little frozen in time there, Garrett, but maybe we can still hear you.
I don't think he's moving.
Yeah, no?
Yeah, I'm moving right now. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you fine.
Can you
Go
hear
ahead
me?
and speak.
Oh, okay. That's a great picture of me. I am personally looking forward to the heat of 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. I once had the opportunity to work the 24-hour event, and during that time, I was sweating from the moment I got there to the moment I left. It is incredibly hot during those times, especially July of all times. It's already 90 degrees by the time you hit 10 a.m. So it's going to be truly unique to be there. But hopefully with the less amount of guests being in the park, it'll make things a little bit more breathable because there'll be more space in the shops to walk around in, as well as just more space in the queue in order to fully enjoy that air conditioning. So it's going to be a little rough for guests, especially it's a first time. And like I said, I'm going to back up Katrina. If it's your first time and you're planning on going to Walt Disney World, hold off until this thing blows over and there's more freedom, such as the parades and shows and fireworks, because you're not going to get that true magical experience. So those times are going to be a little rough, but I think they're using it as an opportunity to use the heat to essentially cook out the COVID virus, as well as using the extra time to disinfect. And you know what? If it's for the greater good of all guests' health, then know what, I'm okay with that. If they need more time to cook or to cook the virus out, then know what, they have my vote. But yeah, we just have to take it day by day because we've never experienced anything like this, and it's this is truly unique in the history of the Walt Disney Company and the world. So I can't wait to sweat in my mask, but that's how it is.
That's right. No, great to at least have it back in some capacity. You're right, but so many changes, so many things to think about before planning a trip, or even considering maybe moving your trip down the line based on all of the new restrictions. I know that Disney has also said that they're reaching out to guests affected by these updates, and with additional information and details they're going to have moving forward, including refunds they are offering. So they understand how much excitement is building around their reopening, but that they do ask for patience as they're trying to reach out to individuals that they've had to mass cancel on, and trying to figure out ways in which they can still rebuild their vacation dreams. The other big piece, I think, to this, guys, is that very quietly Disney went ahead and decided to also add into the mix that not only was it originally 3 years old and up had to wear masks in Disney Springs, but now with the announcement of the theme parks coming back online, quietly they changed that to be 2 years old and up wearing masks in the theme parks. The only thing that I can say to that is, I'm not a parent, but that's going to be a very difficult thing to make happen, I would presume, just because a 3-year-old, I think, was a struggle. Having a 2-year-old trying to keep a mask on, especially when it's 100 degrees outside or 98 degrees outside with that humidity, that's going to be a challenge. So for all those parents, bless you for your patience. Bless you for trying to abide by these rules. I don't know how that's going to work out for you. I just can't imagine it's going to be fun. So something to definitely think about if you are planning a trip and you have little ones. The other big piece to this is the Know Before You Go website that Disney is offering with all their updates, with everything that you need to know before your trip. You can visit disneyworld.com/updates for more information.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.